Hi, I'm Becca and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these boomerang beads. They're really fun. They're for framing something that you've got a focal bead like this one that I'm doing a video on. That one's not for this one, but you just basically make them for the size of the thing that you want to frame, and you can make them into focal beads themselves. You can make different sizes, as you can see. It just depends on how much clay you put in your base, and you can decorate them with clay embroidery. You can use your cane slicers, rhinestones. You could just leave them plain if that's what you wanted to do, but I've gone for adding some sparkle to it. So they're a good framework. You could either use them for circles or squares. You could also do a square pendant if you wanted. So let's get cracking. I'll show you how to make them. The first way I'm going to show you how to make these beads is using some scrap clay as your centre of your beads, and I'm going to just use the triangle cane that I've done for the Splice Paradox cane, the rainbow one that I've made last, so I'll link that in the description box if you've not seen it. What I have found with this though is the smaller you reduce it, because it's the rainbow colours, it gets darker and darker, so it's probably best to just leave your cane rather large, sort of like this size, and just slice it off and then form it around whatever you're going to do. But if you're wanting to do lots of different things, just don't reduce it too much, because I found that it does get a little bit too dark. You can see the colours when you look up close, but you know, not as pronounced as they are when the cane was bigger. So I just want to put that in now for I can't remember if I mentioned it in the video. So I'm just going to take some scrap clay, and I've just got this is just over a 1-inch cutter, and because I'm wanting 2 of these beads for the project that I've got in mind, I'm going to cut 2 of those. Now, depending on how big you want them is how much you put in the centre, but because I'm going to be covering this with some slices of this cane, I'm only using 1 as the centre. If I wasn't covering it with slices of cane, I would probably take 2 of this size and make it for the size project that I'm wanting. So you just want to get your scrap clay made into a ball. I'll try and make sure that you've not got any cracks or anything like that. And then you just want to take some really thin slices of your cane. And when I'm doing a triangle, I like to try and rotate it after each cut, simply so that each of the sides is getting the same sort of pressure. Now, don't worry if you don't get full slices, because we're covering a ball. We're going to need some sort of like half pieces and things, so don't beat yourself up if you don't get a full slice when you're trying to do these ones. You know, we're not all perfect slices, and you don't need to get these fancy slicing machines if you don't want to. So I'm just doing now. If you want to try and match up some of your pattern, you can do, but the way that we're going to form the bead, you're not going to see the exact pattern anyway, unless you've made them on a bigger scale. Then you know, you might do then. Let's take one more, try and get one more full one, but now, when I've been off camera, I've been managing to do it, but as soon as I get on camera, my fingers don't want to play ball, so we'll just have to stick with these. See, so there's just like little patches that need covering up, like that. Just get a quick roll in your hand, and then you're just going to do this and press against the work mat if you've got one of these like what I've got. It's just to smooth out any lumps and bumps that's in it, and plus it gets the cane slices to adhere to the scrap clay better. There we go, so I've got one, and then we'll do the other one. Now, when I've been making these, I'm doing them in pairs simply because the project that I'm doing it with has got for a round pendant and I'm wanting one at either side of it. Now you could just make one of these, or you could make 4. It's up to you whether if you want to make loads of the same design or whether if you just want to make them for a specific project. So it's totally up to you what you decide you want to do. But I've just been doing them in 2s just in case I want to use them on a similar project, and if not I can use them as separate pieces. I didn't have much of this cane left, so I thought I'd get it used up. Now some of these slicers will probably be thicker than the others, don't worry about it because we're going to be squishing it down anyway, so it's not going to make that much of a difference once you've got it all lined up and decorated. Okay, so first. There we go. Another quick one. So they're roughly about the same sort of size now. Start off with that. You can just see the flex gold leaf on it. So the pendant that I'm going to be using is about the size of this round cutter here. So I'm using this as sort of a mould or a... I can't think of another word for it. It's just going to go in place of this for while I'm decorating these beads. And I'm just rolling them out into logs to start with. And before I do any of the shaping of the bead, I'm going to get them so they're both the same length, just so that they're going to be even on the project. So before you take it too small, just do your second one if you're doing 2. Yep, that's about right. Right, I'm just going to take my acrylic block, I'm just going to put my cutter on there, and then I'm just going to just form it around the cutter just to see whether if it's going round as much as I'd like. Now I probably might just do it a tad longer because I'm wanting it to curl around the sides. So yes, that'll be alright now. That's it. So if you get them evened up, because we're wanting to bend them this way, then we're going to squish them more into a point, but we want them to be fitted around the pendant. And then once I've started doing that, I'm pushing down from the top. I can't really show you very well at this angle, but I will lift it up in just a second so I can show you the way that it's going. So far, as you can see, I've squished them down a little bit, so they're quite thick. And then doing them this way, you're going to be able to line them up so that they can go, you know, directly across from each other if that's what you want them to do. And then I'm just taking my old gift card and just turning it more into a point, and then pressing down a little bit more just till I get it the size that I want. Now depending on how chunky of a piece you want them to be, then this is when you decide, you know, whether if you're wanting it any more or if you're wanting it a little bit smaller. You know, you can always curl it out, like roll it out a bit further, and then it'll get more coverage going around the actual pendant if you're using a circle. Now you could use these on square pendants as well, just thinking about it. There could be corners for it, so maybe that's another project I'm going to have a go at doing. My never-ending list of things to try. Okay, so that's got the boomerang part of it all done. So that's as complicated as that is, and now it's just a case of decorating them. Now I'm just going to take some bits of cane that I've got left over and a few rhinestones and decorate them. Now if you haven't covered some scrap clay with a cane, you can just use a nice coloured clay, and then your cane work will stand out even more. So you don't have to cover it like what I have, it's just that's what I wanted to do for the project that I'm doing. So I'm just reducing this down so it's a bit smaller because it's a bit too big for the size bead that I'm doing. I want it to be in proportion. So what I'll do is I'll just take one slice off of this and then I can pop it up to it just so I can see whether it's going to fit properly. So up here, and I'm wanting it to go here, pointing towards the front. I think that's just about right now for what I'm wanting. So if you can see, I've laid it flat along the acrylic block, I've got it pressed up against the bead, and then I've just moulded it around. So I'm going to do that on both pieces, and I'm going to do it on either side. And I've been putting 4 leaves on either side, so you need 8 in total if you're doing them the same as me. To just overlap them, and it's that warm in here now, my cane slices are sticking to me. So, and I'm just going to, whoop, if I don't drop them. There we go. So I'm just overlapping them just a little. Now if it cracks like that, just don't worry about it, just push it back together and just use the heat from your finger to mould it back together, and then you can't tell that there was a crack there at all. See if you can see a little bit better now. So you can't tell at all that there was anything there. So I've got my leaves on either side, and I'm just going to take my needle tool and I'm just going to press in the centre of the leaves. This is just to make sure that it sticks to the base of the bead. And then right on the front I'm just going to put a little flower. So again, depending on whether if you actually want this, you can just put something else, it doesn't have to be a flower. This is just what I want to put on. Now this is a rather old cane, so it may crack when I cut it. If it does, then I'll slice it and then put the lines in once it's on, but I'll try it this way first. Oh, there we go, we were lucky. And I'm just going to pop that on the front. And I've been using my ball tool. I've been pushing it in the centre with the larger end. Oop, and I'm getting a little one, and I'm just pushing in those petals there. So I've got the flower on the front, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a rhinestone in the front here. So I'm just going to put one of these smaller ones in. These are flat back ones, but you can use some chantons if you've got those as well. And these are from the nail art section on AliExpress when I first got them. So I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid clay in that centre. So, not much left in this bottle now, but I will get every bit out of it that I can. So I'm just putting that there. It bakes clear, so don't have to worry about it spoiling the pattern of your flower or your cane or anything. So just pop popping that in the centre. And pushing it in. That's all you're doing. And then final piece of it, just really simple, these beads, I'm just going to skewer it while it's still sort of around the mould, so I've got an idea of where it's going to go. I'm just wanting just to put 2 little holes in, just for when I'm sewing it down. Now if you feel that you just want to use E6000 or something when you're working and just stick it out, you don't need to put the holes in. I just prefer to put it in just so that it's got a bit of added support, and I've just pushed in there just a little bit from the end, and that's lifted that. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit of liquid clay over where it's cracked, and then it will bake and be sturdy. And that's it. So those are how simple these beads take to make. So I'm going to go and make some more of these ones in different colourways, and so I can show you the different ways of doing it, but that's as difficult as they are. The most fun part is just decorating them for, you know, whatever you want them to be like. So I'll go and get some of these done, and I'll come back when they're baked and I'll show you what I've done. So I've got a few more made, and they're in different colours, and I'm just going to go through the different ways that I've decorated them with you, because, you know, pretty much you can decorate it with whatever you want really, the clay embroidery or your slices of canes, but I just wanted to do a few more so I could show you. So this set I've done with just plain purple clay, and then I've put some rainbow cane slices like I did with the leaves, and then I've just put some tiny little rhinestones in, framing it the other way. And then the other one is from a rainbow checkerboard cane, which I've made before. I'll list that in the description for you, so you can watch it if you've not seen it already. And then this is just some more of those ones with the rainbow cane, you know, for the last one that I've done, you know, just covering the whole thing and then just putting some leaves and embellishments on them. And this one, I did this one with you as well, and I've just got some nice sparkly rhinestones there, if you can see them as they are. So they're definitely a fun bead to make, and just decorate them with anything that you've got really. These are just some smaller ones, but say if you've got something smaller than the pendant that I'm going to do, like a tiny little jar here. So whatever size it is that you're wanting it to fit, just find something else to be able to mould it around. And then obviously that's a little bit too big for this one. So say if you've got your metal round cutters, just find one that's nearer the size of the thing that you're wanting to put it around, and then you mould it against that, and then once you've got it all decorated and everything, you just take that out and it's the size for exactly what you're wanting to do. You can use them as just normal beads on their own, we've skewered them on like from here to here, haven't we? So you could go across from this one and put some beads joining it from side to side, so you could make them into a focal bead if you wanted to. So that might be something that I'll have to give a go. And then this one's just with a blue leaf cane, and when I've stretched it out, it sort of just get it this sort of stripy look. So I'm quite pleased with that one. But yeah, I've just put some leaf slices on with that one. So they're really fun to make, so you can just choose it for whatever project you want to do, or you could just make some so you've got a nice stash of them. So if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them as best I can. And if you like the video, if you could give me a thumbs up, that'd be appreciated. And if you've not subscribed, if you consider subscribing, that'd be appreciated too. So thanks for watching, I'll see you next time. Bye.